Hello and welcome here. My name is Denise Willerton. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Welcome to the May tutorial bundle. I'm sure you have just been totally inspired by everywhere else that you have gone. I'm very proud to be a member of this group of wonderful Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. There is a lot of cutting to do on here, so I would suggest that you grab your tutorial and, pardon me, do all your cutting ahead of time. Pardon me for my morning voice. I just got up. It's in the wee hours. I'm just getting in under the wire here. So you're going to start, and I need my cheat sheet here. You're going to start with a 12 by 4 inch strip of paper. This is going to be your card base. Now you could go 4 1/4 inches, but I did 4 just so that I could get 3 kits or 3 card kits on one 12 by 12 sheet. So there's your card base. Then you're going to need, oh boy, I hope I did all my cutting. You're going to need 5 pieces of Night of, or whatever cardstock you want. So depending on the design paper that you use, you're going to select your cardstock to kind of pull this all together according to that. So just flip your, if you're using Stampin' Up! Paper, design paper, just flip over the back and you're going to see all of the names of the colors that are on that pack of design paper. So you're going to start with 5 2 by 3 1/4 cardstocks. You're going to start also with 4 2 1/2 strips of cardstock, and you're also going to cut 2 out of basic white, and I suggest either basic white or very thin, very vanilla, depending on your color scheme. And these basic whites measure 2 5/8 square. Okay, so those are your elements. I hope I have them all. And we're going to start by I can't talk, it's too early in the morning, I'm sorry. We're going to score our card base. And I guess I should show you the lovely card that we are creating. Okay, so it's a diamond card. So I've got a little sentiment on the front, and then on the back. Okay, so that's where this here and this here, that is where your 2 basic white 2 5/8 squares come in. Okay, so this just sits down on a table like so. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. That's what we're going to create here today with the elements that I've used. Okay, so you're going to grab your card base and you are going to score. I'm going to need my arm here. And we're going to score. And I wanted to, I usually don't do all the scoring, but there's so much going on here that I wanted to show you all of your scores. Okay, you're going to score at 2. And I like to mark my score blade with the word score on it. I don't know if you can see that right there. And so what I did was I took a fine Sharpie and I wrote score, and then I covered it with clear nail polish, and I just let that set overnight so that when I woke up the next day, I had the word score on my little blade and it wasn't going to go anywhere. Then we're going to score again at 4. So 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches, and then 10 inches. And then what I want you to do is I want you to put a little tick mark. So whether you want to do that with the pencil or with your score machine, just a little tick mark at this end here as well as this end here. This is at the 6-inch mark. I hope I've done my, yeah, I can see it. So on both sides, a little 6-inch mark. So again, very lightly with a pencil or with your trimmer. Okay, and now what we want to do is, oh, I still need this. So now you're going to find that 6-inch tick mark, and I've got it here and here, and we are going to go from this 6-inch tick mark. I should have used a pencil just so that you can see a little clearer what I'm doing. So here's my where's my lead? Here's my 6-inch, and here's my 6-inch right there. Okay, so I've got my two little 6-inch tick marks. Okay, and there's also a on my tutorial, you're going to notice there's an image. So your scoring is what it's going to look like. So there's my 6-inch, and I've got a score line here and a score, whoops, there's my 6-inch. I've got a score line here and here. I want to avoid this one. So I want to grab the score line that is closest to the edge of my card base on both sides. Okay, so there's my 6-inch, and I'm going to swing this around until this edge right here is in my track, and then I'm going to make sure I get that little tick mark in the track. So I've got that point and that point in my track. Okay, let's make sure nothing moves. You're going to grab your score blade and you're going to score. There's your first diagonal. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing on this side. There's my tick mark, and there is my second score. There's my first and my second, or my first and second, depending on how you want to look at it. So the score line that is closest to the edge of your card. Okay, so now I've got this, but now I need to do that. So we're going to just flip it around and we're going to do the same thing. Tick mark and my first score line. Okay, make sure that's in the track. And it is. And then we're going to flip that around and do it this way. Tick mark and my second. I'm probably not in camera just because I'm working at the bottom end. I just want to swing that around and make sure I am where I should be. Okay, so now if you look at that diagram, you should see a big square in the center and a whole bunch of other little marks, and it should look like the image, okay, that I put on the tutorial. Not to scale, but it should look like the image. Now, if you used a pencil mark, I want you to erase that pencil mark, okay? So we're just getting rid of those two little tick marks from my 6-inch, which is your halfway point. Now, if you decided you wanted to create this card at 4 1/4, nothing changes on the scoring, but what does change is the size of your mats. Okay. I sure hope I did my scoring properly in the wee hours of the morning. Yeah, that one's very light, but it's there. Okay, so I'm just burnishing my score marks. Now, normally I don't do all of this on my tutorials. I'm usually more ready, but you know what? There's so much going on that I needed to show you how I got the whole diamond thing. So I'm just finding all of my score marks and score lines and just giving it a good burnish. And then this one here, and this is going to totally make sense once we get all of this done. And then we've got one here. And one here. Now, I don't know if that's going to show up more. Yeah, see how that looks? And it kind of looks like the image. So you've got a score line here, a score line there, and then we've got our diamonds happening. Now, these are going to go in. This is going to come up on that side. These are going in like so. Do you see how this is happening? And then that's going to come up. So there is your card base. Okay? So you just want to give that a good burnish. If you are using a dark cardstock, I would suggest you take computer paper when you are doing all of your burnishing, because what happens is if you put your computer paper down over your cardstock, you're not going to get that sheen that happens. Let's get that all settled here. So I'm just helping the card along, breaking up the fibers and training it to do what I want it to do, which is this. Okay, so there's your card base. Now, the first thing that I did was I took my rectangle card mats that I put down on the tutorial, and so the cardstock measures 1 7/8, and I did that twice. So 1 7/8 by 3 7/8, and then your design paper is going to measure 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. And yes, I'm looking at my cheat sheet. So this is the gorgeous naturally gilded DSP. You're going to grab a piece of scrap, your blending brush, and your Night of Navy, because what I want to do is I want to add some color onto this beautiful paper. Now it is a very light paper, and I find if I go back and forth, sometimes the DSP is going to jump and fold. So I would suggest going in one in one direction, okay? And then we're going to flip that around when I get the depth of color that I want. You can go as light or as dark as you want. I like to start off so I get that splotch mark on my scrap paper. I'm going to flip that around, and we're going to go in this direction. Back and forth does not seem to work. Please don't ask me how I know that. Whoops, there's my splotch mark right there. So let's see if I can pull that out a bit by just adding more dark up here. And it really doesn't matter, that whole splotch mark. Okay. I'm getting my fingerprints in the in the foil on the paper, not tin foil, foil. Then you're going to grab a tissue, and you know what? You can do this dry, or you can do just a real quick little spritz like that on your tissue. It's hardly even damp. And I am just, I want you to see this. If I put that there, you might see it better. Look at that just come to life. So if you can see the difference, this has been wiped and that has not. It just pops it right off. And so all that I'm doing is the ink that ended up on the foil is now being lifted off onto my very, very lightly dampened tissue, or you can use paper towel. Okay, now we are going to adhere that onto our little piece of cardstock. If you ever put too much glue when you're using your Tombow or your green glue, whatever you call it, just set your piece aside for about 5-10 minutes and the oozing is not going to happen. Now, with your design paper, if you are using directional, this is going to matter, okay? And I do find that this is somewhat directional. Like I feel like these flowers are going up as well as that. Like to me, this looks upside down, okay? So we're going to put that on either side, and you're already seeing the card come to life. It's exciting. It's a fun card to create. I am teaching this also for my May class. So again, if it's directional, pay attention. So now I know this is the top of my card, and I'm just eyeballing center within all of these score lines. Get this one down. Eyeballing center in this little section here. Okay, our two sides have been complete. Let's grab our Stamparatus. I still like to use mine, and I am going to continue. I love it. Okay, we're going to grab the Irresistible Blooms, and this is what I did with mine. I need my basic white. Now, you can see how the front of the card and the back, okay, we've got a diamond thing going on. So what I like to do is I like to place these, whoops, I'm not even in camera. I like to place these two corners along one of my darker grid lines, and then I pull these corners across until I've got all of my points hitting the darker grid lines, and I know that's where I want to be. Okay, I'm going to put my flower down. I need a little more room. I'm going to put that up there. I want to make sure that my points are there. And let's make this into a I like you card. And do I have enough room? We're going to pick those up. And I just realized that my mat is still on there. So let's start over. Top point, bottom point on the darker line. These two corners on the darker line. I should be good. And everything looks fairly square on my Stamparatus. I like it. Let's ink that up with some Night of Navy. I like to also, if you notice on my Stamparatus, I have some design paper. I call that my handles. I like my handles, and that came off. That is not a good thing. Okay, I'm going to just place that back on there. Here's a little trick that I like to do. Here's a window sheet. If I ever want to make sure that I've got perfect placement, I put a window sheet down. I make sure that it's right in the corner. And then when I come down with my ink, this window sheet is going to show me exactly what it's going to look like, what I've stamped. So sometimes if I'm really concerned that my sentiment is not straight, I will use my window sheet trick. So I always have a window sheet hanging around. And that's just a projector window sheet. Okay, so I liked the placement of that. And there we go. I love it. I love this stamp set so much. Okay, I want to clean that off because I just don't want that dark ink hanging around, because inevitably it's going to end up on my fingers. Now, I want to give some of this white in here. I want to quiet it down a little bit. Let's grab a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to put that blotch on a block. And we're going to use boho blue, but I'm going to stamp off because I want this even a little bit lighter. So we're going to grab that beautiful boho blue that came back, and we're going to just stamp off. On all four corners. I like that look. That's just me. I like the look. Okay. We're going to put that on our cardstock mat. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other square of basic white. So then we have our writing portion complete for our card. So we're just eyeballing here, like so. And let's just go ahead and put that down. And again, that's on a diagonal. You want to make sure that this is, in fact, the top of your card. And we're just eyeballing center in the middle of all of your score lines. Your card is already coming to life. Let's grab that other little piece, and we're going to grab the little flourish from Timeless Arrangements. So I'm playing with a lot of our new goodies, which I'm loving. Did you ever buy a stamp set and then you realize that when it's retiring, pardon me, that you haven't played with it much or haven't played with it at all? I'm embarrassed to say that I've done that. Okay, so this is photopolymer. I want a little bit of a cushion, but I don't like to stamp on my photopolymer. In fact, I don't like to stamp on my silicone mat either. Where did I put my Night of Navy? My desk becomes a hot mess when I'm working. Okay, again, same thing. The back is still on a diamond, so I like to place my cardstock the way that it's going to go on the card so that I don't mess anything up. I want room to write my little sentiment, so I'm just going to add a little flour right there, like so. And we're going to put that down on our Night of Navy as well. Okay, get all of this out of the way. So we've already used up 2 of those Night of Navies, okay? Because remember, we cut 5. I want you to see what happens here. Now, the kind of the next steps of the card, I have done most of the gluing ahead of time, just because there's so much cutting that needs to take place. So I just kind of sped things up a bit, okay? Going to get some adhesive back here and get that. And again, you want to make sure that you're facing the right way, okay? So I'm just going to flip it right over and put it down like so. This way I know that nothing is upside down. So there is where I'm going to write my sentiment, or you can write your sentiment on the back panels. Now we want to fill this area in, okay? So we're going to grab our Stampin' Trimmer again, because we're going to do some cutting. Okay, let's see what sizes we have. So you're going to grab your Night of Navies. You should have 3 left, okay, because we've already used 2. You're going to take one of them and you're going to go, let's get in the camera here. You're going to grab one of them and you're going to go, this point and this point are in the track, okay, like so. And now you're going to cut that, okay? You're going to do just that. You're going to grab one of your design papers, this point and this point in the track. I like to cut from the bottom up. So those 2 go like so. I'm just going to go step by step, okay? So you're going to adhere that onto the design paper, onto your cardstock. So whatever colors you were using, let's get those on the card. So you're going to see how the rest of this is going to come together fairly quickly. And that's why it's nice to have all your cutting done first. So this goes in this larger area, and this one goes in this larger area, like so. And we're just eyeballing with the score lines, etc. So that takes care of that. Those are done. You're going to grab your cardstock again, and you're going to put point to point in the track. Like so. And then what I like to do is I like to put them together. And if I use, you know how we've got this, this edge on our trimmer, and you can do it separately as well. I just want to make sure that they're identical. And this point here is going in the track as well. So my point is in the track. I'm nice and flush with the top, and I'm going to give that a slice. And you want to make sure that you have given it good pressure if you're doing 2 of them. So I've got 4 little pieces now, and you're going to actually do that twice, okay? So you're going to do it with this one as well. You're going to do the same thing with your design paper. Point, point in the track, give it a slice, put them together, make sure they're nice and square, use your straight edge, point in the track, give it a firm press because you're cutting through many layers. And there's your 4 pieces for that other square that has now become a triangle. So I've gone ahead and I have glued them down, and I've also gone ahead and glued down the second set. And so I didn't want them all the same. For this card, you could do whatever you want, and you can place them however you want. So I know I want the contrast here and here. So that's how I'm going to build my card, okay? So let's just go ahead. And what I like to do is I like to start with one rather than going back and forth. This way I know I'm on the right track, okay? This is also a great card for using up your design paper. There's a lot of cutting involved, but once the cutting is done, it's pretty quick, as you can see. And it's just like putting a puzzle together. So if you're feeling like, this doesn't fit, it does fit. So now we're going to scoot over to this side, okay? Just because I want to get this design paper out of the way. Now this design paper is actually the back side of the country side inn. So one of the daisy papers. And you know what? I'm sorry, I don't have one in front of me to show you what the other side is. I can't pick this up. There we go. So get some adhesive on that. So I'm just following the same pattern. What a pretty card. It's almost like a gift. The card is a gift, okay? And now those other 4 obviously are going in the empty spots, and your card is complete. Easy peasy. It really is. It's mostly the cutting and lots of gluing, but it comes together fairly quickly. Now again, if you did choose to make this 4 1/4, and it still will fit into our regular A2 envelopes, all you're going to do is your scoring is going to be identical, okay? But what happens is all of the blocks then become a little bit larger, and all you need to do is figure out the size of the square. So if you figure out the size of the square, you're on your way to the races. And last but certainly not least, our last one, and voila, there you go. There's your card. That one's not quite down yet. And then I took our beautiful flat adhesive back rhinestones. I love these. Are they rhinestones? They're not. They're pearls. And I put them down on the card. So one big one, and then I like a little one as a neighbor. And then let's fire a little one on that side and fold everything in as it should be folded. And I thought I had an envelope forward. I do. I always stamp my envelope to match my card. And this fits in our standard A2 envelope. It is thick. It's going to require additional postage, okay? So there it is. There is your diamond fold card. I don't have enough adhesive in that one little corner. So that's how it's sitting that way, but the recipient would put it on their table that way. And so when you're viewing at it, it's gorgeous. It's like a piece of art. Thank you for popping in and sharing some time with me. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, my name is Denise Willerton. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I would be honored if you did that. And that's it. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of the tutorials. Have a wonderful day. Bye now.